Now, the second most precious form of behavior is any behavior done in the flow state. What do we mean by the flow state? The flow state is really our aim when it comes to creating the consistent habit and having flexibility in our Quran study. Right? I mentioned it briefly yesterday, but the idea of the flow state is that the real aim of this Quran habit, the real aim of our Quran study is we want to get you addicted to the Quran and loving the time you spend with the Quran so much that you never want it to stop. That's the idea. If you can get addicted to the Quran, then you're in the flow. When you're in the flow state, it's like time disappears and you're just completely immersed in the activity. So when you set the countdown timer for your Quran study, it should interrupt you. Like you're so into it, you get like, oh yeah, that's right, time's up. I have to go do other stuff, right? And then you might say, if you're that into it, why even have a timed habit? And we've already answered that. It's better to have a time target than a test target. In the beginning, we want you to stop so that you end on a high and you're excited to come back the next day. We don't want you to end your Quran study feeling like, oh man, that was a tough session. That one really took it out of me. Because if you end like that, you're going to be less motivated to come back the next day. We want you to end on a high. And by the way, this is a secret to working out. If you want to be one of those people that gets fitter and fitter every day because you work out every day, the secret to it is work out hard enough that you get a good pump, but not so hard that you completely mess yourself up, right? Not so hard that you're sore and aching the next day and the next day, right? There's an excellent, one of the world's leading jiu-jitsu instructors, the trainer of George St. Pierre, who's one of the all-time best mixed martial artists. His trainer is a guy called Firaz Zahabi, who is a Muslim. And you never know, one day he may even be watching this episode. If so, salam alaikum, love the work you're doing. And the idea that he put forward in this excellent interview he did with Joe Rogan was, it's possible for anyone to become incredibly fit and incredible, like world-class fitness level without ever being sore. And he says, if you come back the day after you train and you're sore, it means the day before you messed up. He says, I don't want you doing jiu-jitsu so much that you're sore the next day. I want you doing it just enough that you quit so that the next day you're not sore. And he says, I train every day, twice a day. And George St. Pierre trains every day, twice a day. But we're never sore. Why? Because they know the secret to getting into a flow state. One of the keys to reaching a flow state is relaxation. The Quran habit should never be done out of stress, never out of stress, never out of feeling like a failure, never out of guilt. We don't even want to go there. Forget all that negative stuff. Go for relaxation. And what's relaxation? Relaxation is simply having a clear mind, not a busy mind. If you have a clear mind, you're relaxed. If you have Allah has it in for me, and I have all these troubles, like if you have a busy mind, then you're not relaxed. So flow state requires relaxation. The second thing that's required in a flow state, and by the way, relaxation, in neurolinguistic programming, they say relaxation is your conscious mind building rapport with your unconscious mind. And there's something very powerful and profound about that, because they say that the more you're in touch with your unconscious mind, the more you're in touch with your higher mind, or your divine mind, or your higher self. Okay, so the idea is relaxation, clear mind. That's the path. All worship should be done in a state of relaxation, especially study. You don't learn anything when you're stressed. If you get stressed about studying, you're not really studying well. The best way to study is in a very relaxed state. Even if you're doing the language learning course, one of the ideas is they tell you, just have a relaxed time every day that you can just enjoyably relax in a relaxed manner, study this thing. Okay, the second thing is the perfect level of challenge. What do we mean by the perfect level of challenge? If something is too hard, think about it like a video game, right? And this is an idea from the book called Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, right? He wrote a book called Flow, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, something like that. But he wrote a book called Flow that became very famous. And he talks a lot about the flow state and how valuable it is as a psychological state. And he says that one of the keys to getting there is you want the perfect level of challenge. If you try doing something that's too hard, you'll get frustrated and quit. If you try doing something that's too easy, you'll get bored of it and quit. But if you find the right level of challenge, think of it like a video game. If a video game is too hard for you to play, it's like, forget it, I'm not interested. If it's too easy and you start winning and winning and winning, like I have some friends who are obsessed with Pro Evo, the football game, and they all get together and play Pro Evo. I don't really play Pro Evo. For them, it's no fun to play against me because they just beat me every time because they play it a lot, right? And I never play, so they can just beat me really quickly. So for them, it wouldn't be fun to play against me because they would beat me really quickly. And for me, it's no fun to play against them because I lose all the time. It's too hard to play against them. So what would really need to happen is if I really wanted to have a fun game with them, first I'd have to practice on my own and play in a set the video game to like an easy level, get better and better and better, and then set it to a moderate level and get it better, and then play against my friends because they just have way too much free time in it. Okay, what else about reaching the flow state? Well, the idea is it's much easier to relax into your Quran studies when you focus on developing one Quran skill at a time until you reach competence, not mastery, just competence. And then you move on to the next Quran habit, even though you were really starting to enjoy the previous one, right? Why is this important to reach a flow state? Because one of the biggest mistakes we make in our Quran study is trying to do something that is really 5 or 6 skills all intermingled together, right? Something we'll come back to when we talk about prayer and salah. Salah is an amazing thing. Prayer, the 5 daily prayer is an amazing thing because in the prayer, the idea is all of your Quran study is really just building up so that you have awesome prayers, right? Because in the prayer, what you actually do is you combine all of your Quran skills together in one space. Everything you're memorizing, your Arabic, your tajweed, how fluently you recite was necessary to get yourself to the point where you could learn the Quran, how much depth you have yourself in knowing yourself so that the Quran verses, you can see how they apply to you more. All of this comes together in the Salah. But the idea is in your Quran studies, you build one skill at a time. And we'll go into a lot of detail on this in Module 4. And bear in mind, you only want to get competent at each skill, which again, only takes about 20 hours with about half an hour a day. It takes about 40 days. You only want to get to a basic level of competence before you move on to the next skill. And then if you want later on in your Quran studies, you can come back and get a higher level of mastery. But the idea is you want to become competent at all of the Quran skills, and then you've achieved the goal. Right? If you enjoyed this video and want the full Quran for Busy People system to transform your connection with the Quran in as little as 11 minutes a day, go to quranforbusypeople.com and check out the free web class.